They had designed a nefarious plan to loot a bank's armored vehicle,
I could be blind as a bat and still blow your head off, so you got me.
but their intentions were just to help a friend. The plan looked quite reasonable until the moment they discovered what the bank's vehicle was actually carrying on that particular tour. Welcome back to Paramount Recapped. I don't have many subscribers, but your single comment is a ray of hope to motivate me. The story kicks off inside a dusty, old motel somewhere in Texas. A guy is standing near the window, puffing on a cigarette, while a woman, totally naked, is stretched out on the bed behind him. There's a radio playing nearby, and it's blaring out news about some crazy new street drug that's got everyone hooked. It's called Crystal Dream. What makes it even weirder is the way people use it. They rub it straight into their eyes. Creepy stuff. The guy finishes his smoke, doesn't say a word to the woman, and walks out. He starts cruising across the American Southwest, sticking to back roads and keeping close to the Mexican border, avoiding big highways and crowded cities. Eventually, he finds himself rolling into Los Angeles. He pulls into a sketchy-looking gas station just to grab a pack of smokes. But as soon as he walks inside the store, he realizes it's being held up by some armed punks. Instead of freaking out or backing away, he strolls up to the counter like it's any other day. One of the robbers mouths off and threatens him, which turns out to be a big mistake. The guy takes him down fast, like in seconds. He knocks the weapon out of his hand and beats the hell out of him. While he's at it, he grabs a heavy-duty Desert Eagle handgun off one of the guys. The gas station worker, wide-eyed and probably thinking he just saw some kind of action movie, offers him free fuel to say thanks. But the guy shrugs it off and says bad for business. When asked for his name, he coolly responds with Harley Davidson. No joke. Then he walks right out like nothing happened. Next stop, a bar. Inside, there's a tense pool game going down. One of the players is Harley's old buddy, the Marlboro Man. He's calm and focused, clearing the table like a pro. But the guy he's playing against, a big, scary dude, doesn't take it well. He accuses Marlboro of cheating and refuses to cough up the money. The guy pulls a knife and slashes Marlboro in the gut. Even wounded, Marlboro throws down and fights back, taking out not just the knife guy, but his whole crew. Harley, who stood back the entire time, gets a sarcastic thanks for the help from Marlboro once the dust settles. Outside the bar, they catch up a bit. Harley's been off the radar for 2 years. Marlboro patches himself up, and Harley starts musing about life and what comes after. He says that if heaven's real and there's a God, he wouldn't mind meeting the guy and just hanging out for a while. Later on, Harley finds out that Burbank, the town he remembers, has changed a lot. It's no longer the quiet place it used to be. It's turned into a huge airport hub with international flights buzzing in and out. Still, Harley and Marlboro ride out to their old stomping grounds, a place called the Rock and Roll Bar and Grill. In a parking lot, Marlboro grumbles about his busted-up bike and even threatens to shoot it. Harley actually joins in the fun, pulls out his gun, misses on purpose, then hands Marlboro the Desert Eagle as a birthday present. Marlboro doesn't hesitate. He blows up the bike himself, turning it into a pile of junk. Inside the bar, Harley brushes past a group of guys in suits and bumps into an old friend they all call the Old Man. He still runs the joint. A bunch of familiar faces are still hanging around, doing small-time cons and tricks to make ends meet. One of them is their buddy Jack Daniels, who now pulls off fake arm wrestling losses with a guy named Jimmy to scam drunk challengers. Things get tense when Jack sees Harley. Turns out Harley once messed around with Lulu, who's now Jack's wife and sings at the bar. That leads to an all-out brawl. Harley holds his own for a bit, but Jack eventually throws him through a window and starts choking him out. Harley calms him down by saying Lulu always loved Jack, not him. That cools things off for the moment. Not long after, they find out the bar is in serious trouble. It's about to be bulldozed to make room for a fancy high-rise, thanks to some shady deal by the Great Trust Bank. Jim, one of the guys at the bar, says Jack was only pulling those rigged matches to scrape together money and try to save the place. That gets Harley and Marlboro thinking. They float the idea of robbing one of the bank's armored trucks to get enough money to help the old man keep the bar. Jack isn't into it, though. He made a promise to Lulu and doesn't want to risk getting locked up when they're trying for a baby. Despite Jack's refusal, the rest of the crew decides to move ahead with the plan. They fake a construction site to redirect an armored truck down a quiet street. Once it's isolated, they ambush the guards, tie them up, and start hauling the bags down into a truck hidden in a nearby sewer tunnel. But something feels off. One of the guards warns them that they have no idea who they're messing with. Then, out of nowhere, a sleek black limo rolls up. Out come a bunch of creepy dudes dressed in black leather coats, and they start blasting away. Bullets don't seem to faze them at all. They just keep walking through the crossfire like machines. Right when it looks like it's game over, Jack comes roaring in on his motorcycle. He ditches the bike, lights the fuel trail, and blows the whole thing up. But the bad guys just leap over the flames like it's nothing. The team barely manages to toss the last bags into the truck and speed off. Later, when they finally open the sacks expecting bundles of cash, they're hit with a nasty surprise. Inside are a bunch of small, see-through blue bars. It's not money, it's Crystal Dream, that nasty new drug from the news. Meanwhile, the guy leading those bulletproof goons, his name's Alexander, goes to report to his boss, Chance Wilder. Wilder runs Great Trust Bank and is not happy at all. He tells Alexander to find the people who stole his product, wipe them out, and bring the drugs back. That night, Marlboro's out riding when he flips off a cop and starts tearing down the road like a maniac. The flashing lights aren't far behind. So, Marlboro's reckless riding gets him pulled over, but the twist? The cop's none other than his old flame, Virginia. Things get a little nostalgic real quick, and before you know it, they're catching up and spending the night together like old times. But by morning, reality crashes in. Virginia's got a ring on her finger now and is planning to walk down the aisle with someone else. That news hits Marlboro like a punch to the gut. Meanwhile, Harley shows up and takes Virginia out for some breakfast. During their meal, she drops a bombshell about the drug Crystal Dream. Turns out it's not just a powerful high, it's insanely addictive and totally wrecks your brain. Anyone who keeps using it is basically signing up for a slow, ugly death. Not long after they get back to her place, they find Marlboro already up, sitting around grumbling and fixing his busted boots with duct tape. He's clearly not taking the engagement news well. Acting out like a kid, he swipes her fiancé's fancy Harley bike and takes off with it. Next up, Harley and Marlboro set their sights on the big guys, Great Trust Bank. They manage to get Wilder, the slick CEO, on the line and demand $2.5 million in exchange for returning the stolen stash of drugs. And just for kicks, they tack on an extra dollar as a kind of personal bet. Surprisingly, Wilder agrees and sets up a meetup that same night in an airplane graveyard. Later that night, Alexander, the cold, menacing right-hand man, shows up with the cash. Everything goes down smooth, almost too smooth. That weird feeling in Marlboro's gut doesn't go away, and turns out he's right to be suspicious. While everyone's relaxing at the bar afterward, feeling like they just pulled off the score of the year, Alexander and his gang roll in without warning. The old man, watching them from behind a one-way mirror, tries to bluff his way through, saying Marlboro and Harley aren't around. At first it looks like the bad guys buy it, but then Alexander suddenly spins around and shoots the old man without blinking. Chaos erupts as bullets tear through the back room. Harley and Marlboro dive through a window to escape, but their close friends, Jimmy, Jack, and Jose, don't make it out. They're gunned down on the spot. The duo hightails it to the nearby airport and sneak into the luggage compartment of a parked plane. One of the leather-clad killers nearly catches them, but they slip away and end up heading straight to Vegas. They crash at a posh hotel, but their luck doesn't hold. Alexander hunts them down again. Cornered, they make a wild escape by jumping off the rooftop straight into the swimming pool several stories below. Back in their room, Harley finally figures out how they keep getting tracked. That dollar coin they took from Alexander, it's been rigged with a tracking chip. He rips it out and smashes it, but the damage is done. While they hop a freight train going east, Marlboro starts talking about going back to LA to finish what they started and make things right for their fallen friends. Harley doesn't want any part of it and tells him he's done, so Marlboro jumps off the train alone. Eventually, Harley has a change of heart and catches up with Marlboro. They agree to pull one last move. They rewire the tracker and set a trap. Alexander, thinking he's got a lead again, follows the signal all the way back to the airplane graveyard. All he finds is an empty briefcase and the coin. But just as he's piecing things together, Harley and Marlboro show themselves, and all hell breaks loose. Bullets start flying in a wild shootout. Marlboro lands 2 dead-on headshots, dropping Alexander's last remaining men. But Alexander grabs Marlboro and uses him as a human shield. Harley, notorious for being a terrible shot, tries to save him. And of course, his first shot hits Marlboro by accident. But then, with shaky hands and nerves of steel, he manages to land the kill shot right into Alexander. They both pump a few more rounds into him just to make sure he stays down this time. With Alexander out of the way, they hop into the helicopter his pilot came in and fly straight to Wilder's office. Once inside, they drop the money on his desk and laid down their terms, canceled the foreclosure, and fixed the lease on the old bar. Wilder, smug as ever, refuses. He tells his goons to kill them instead. But surprise, Harley and Marlboro had already bribed the helicopter pilot. Right on cue, the guy shows up at the office window in the chopper, blasting Wilder's guards with a mounted machine gun. During the chaos, Wilder crosses the line by insulting Marlboro's father, which was the last straw. Marlboro snaps and charges at him. The fight ends with Wilder teetering on the edge of the window ledge, gripping onto Marlboro's worn-out cowboy boot for dear life. Harley tries to pull him back up, but the boot rips. Wilder loses his grip and falls all the way down to the street, meeting his end the hard way. In the aftermath, everything starts to settle. Harley and Marlboro go their separate ways. Marlboro's last scene has him riding a bull at a rodeo, probably finding some sort of peace in all the madness. As for Harley, he rides off into the distance like a true loner, and picks up a gorgeous hitchhiker on the road because of course he does.